Today, we're going to talk about cranial nerves. Yay! So, the basics you need to know are there are 12 pairs of them. They're named for their function or structure. They're also numbered on where they're located in the different parts of your brain. Each nerve has a Roman numeral between 1 and 12. Their functions are usually sensory or motor, or mixed. Sensory nerves are involved with your senses such as smell, hearing, and touch. Motor nerves control the movement and function of muscles or glands. Now let's just talk about afferent versus efferent. Afferent neurons are called sensory neurons. They're responsible for sensing the stimulus. Then they send the information about that stimulus to your central nervous system. Sensory input such as smells and feelings of pain is carried from the point of reception up to the spinal cord and into the brain. Efferent neurons, also called motor neurons, are responsible for carrying signals away from the central nervous system in order to initiate the action. When the input is brought to the brain, it sends signals for a motor response to your muscles and glands via the efferent neurons. If you need another way to remember the difference between afferent and efferent, A is before E in the alphabet. So, afferent is the one that receives the information, and efferent responds to it. So, I have a mnemonic to help you remember the functions of the cranial nerves. The S is for sensory, M is for motor, B is for both. And these are in order as they are with cranial nerve numbers. So the mnemonic is, some say marry money, but my brother says big breasts matter more. So you can remember that. It's a good way to remember if it's sensory, motor, or mixed. So now let's go on to the cranial nerve list. We have 1 olfactory, 2 optic, 3 ocular motor, 4 trochlear, 5 trigeminal, 6 abducens, 7 facial, 8 vestibular cochlear, 9 glossopharyngeal, 10 vagus, 11 accessory, 12 hypoglossal. So, cranial nerves 1 through 4 is in the midbrain, 5 through 7 is in the pons, and 9 through 12 is in the medulla. So let's talk about number 1, olfactory. It's a sensory nerve, and its function is for your nose and the sense of smell. Number 2, optic. This one is a sensory nerve, and it gives the visual cues. 3 is ocular motor. Obviously, it's called a motor. It's a motor. It controls all eye muscles except for those supplied by number 4 and number 6. Number 4, trochlear, also motor. Eye movement from the superior oblique muscle. 5, trigeminal. It's a mixed cranial nerve. It does sensory portions of the face, sinuses, and teeth, and the motor for the jaw muscles. 6 is abducens. It's a motor. It controls eye movement from the external rectus muscle. Number 7 is facial, also known as intermediate. Nerve type is both sensory and motor. Function of motors is submaxillary gland and sublingual gland, muscles of the face. Sensory is the front of tongue and soft palate. Number 8 is vestibular cochlear, which is a sensory, and its function is for hearing and balance. Number 9, glossopharyngeal. It's a mixed neuron. The motor function is swallowing with pharyngeal musculature, and sensory is taste and sensation on back part of tongue, tonsil, and pharynx. 10 is vagus. Nerve type is both. Function of the motor part is heart, lungs, bronchi, and gastrointestinal tract. Sensory is heart, lungs, bronchi, trachea, larynx, pharynx, gastrointestinal tract, and external ear. Number 11 is accessory. Nerve type is motor, and it controls your shoulder muscles. Number 12 is hypoglossal. Nerve type motor. Functions muscles of the tongue. And to sum it up, I have one more mnemonic, and that is to help you remember the actual cranial nerve names. Ooh, 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 to touch and feel a good virgin. Ah. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful.